We're live. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Courtyard. We haven't done one for a while because February was a short month and there was Chinese New Year, so nothing really happened. So there was kind of pointless to do a mid-month update. Instead, we're just going to do a full month update. Okay. First of all, happy year of the ox. I swear to God, bro, if another fucking person makes a stupid Happy New Year fucking joke to me again, I swear to fucking God, bro, the amount
you take the knife and you just stab. You just randomly stab.
Bro, the amount of times I've heard that from people who learn Chinese as like a second language is unbelievable.
But they want to look cool. Like at first, like bro, wait. Years ago, I was super into that. I was like, okay, so this is the New Year's. Like, what's the animal? No. So what's the joke? What do I need to say to look like local? Like I was really trying so hard. And then at some point, it was like, who gives a shit? Like,
bro, who cares? Man, it's so annoying. Like
at some point, the only thing you need to say, because that's the thing, you just say like, health. Like you just go for the 身体健康, and then that's it. That's whatever. Like that's all you need. No, you don't need the jokes. You don't need nothing else.
Oh my God,
man, it's so sad.
It's always no disrespect, but a large proportion of these jokes were made by white people, which is extra annoying. Bro,
oh, I know.
Why? Stop making these jokes. These puns suck. Stop it. They suck. Anyways.
New year, bro.
Oh my God. Fucking hell. Okay. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, what do we got? What do we got on the board? What do we got to talk about?
Something smooth to get it rolling.
Oh.
So, bro, when you cry foul and then you backtrack. And then you front, you backtrack, and then you say that what you're doing is not what you say it is. So it's so confusing, and this is exactly what happened, I think, like, yesterday or, like, just a few days ago. That China shipped, like, millions of COVID-19 vaccines to poor countries, and they were like, oh, yeah, but this is not vaccine diplomacy. I was like, oh, come on, dog. Like, come on. Like, please, at least, admit it. Just at this point, just why keep like living in denial? Just handle it. Just say it. Like, yeah, we're like we probably made something wrong. Like this is just a like kind of a courtesy, kind of like because we'd like to go back to Africa to extract minerals. So we need to look good. Oh man, it's so much to ask just to get a tad of truth. Just a little.
Well, what is weird, though, is I don't think the mainland is disclosing the percentage of the population that has been vaccinated, right? Like, they're not disclosing that.
For example, my stepmom hasn't been vaccinated yet.
Okay, so I mean, as a whole, right? It's not like, you see in, like, U.S., whatever, Israel, Canada, they're disclosing, percentage of population. Yeah. They're not disclosing it, right? Or I haven't just found the data?
No, I asked her about it, and she told me that... it hasn't been made like mandatory for now. Like her major news was that she applied for an elevator grant and she got it. Bro, when she told me that, I was like, this was the news that I wanted. I didn't know I wanted it, but now that she told me, damn, I wanted that news so bad.
Wait, just sorry for everyone listening, but we got to delve into this because I recall this was in the works for like years.
Yeah, I think she's been working on it for like 2 years because so we live on the 6th floor on like these old apartment buildings, and there's no elevators, and they're not getting any younger. So, and for me, carrying 6 or 7 or 8 luggages up and down was an absolute it's narrow as hell. It's like, oh man, it's so sad. And if the dude just comes to just flood the floor, I can just slip and die. Anyway, so she told me like they got the grant and they have to pay like a certain amount per floor. And she was like next time you come, like it's gonna be so nice. Like, oh goddamn, yes, it's gonna be so nice. Oh
wait,
yeah.
But it's a private elevator, right?
Yes.
It's
Bro,
even better.
bro, she's rolling on gold.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
Bro, but because you remember you came once, and you remember like if we have to go this with heavy legs, it's complicated.
I didn't go to your apartment though. I didn't go. I saw the building. I didn't go.
Okay. Anyway, it's 6 floors, narrow, and if you drank too much, it's complicated.
Yeah, no.
And moving anything out of that is complicated. You need to leave all the furnitures, so it's like,
Yeah.
what's the point? Anyway, so she got it. She was very happy. But more on the interesting news for February. I mean, like you said, it's a quiet month, but there's a lot of things that are of interest, especially before the two sessions, which are the annual meeting of the National People Congress and the Zhengxie. You always correct me on this. It's like the
CPPCC.
yeah, the CPPCC and not the CCPPC. Yeah, I don't know. I made the mistake again this time. I was like, why can't we just write Zhengxie? It's so much easier. Anyway, so just before that, so usually what's going to happen in the early days or early months, like January, February, what you're going to see is reports of central inspection teams. So usually it's never something pretty good because, if they inspect, it's because they're looking for something. And what we saw this year is major reviews of problems in terms of implementation of Xi Jinping's thought, which is a very nice euphemism to say that people are not loyal enough to Xi Jinping. I wasn't expecting that because usually they look for briberies, they look for inconsistencies or other things like that. But this is not what we got this year. However, the thing that came out that was interesting was the fact that Chongqing was praised. And people immediately started to think, okay, maybe that's finally the ticket for Chen Min-er to get his seat at the standing committee of the Politburo. That actually could be, that's something to look for 2022 because they tried to promote him right off the bat to Cheng Wei, but they couldn't because, if Hu Chenhua wasn't getting through, Chen Min-er couldn't get through. But now looking at this, and especially they praise the fact that the influence of people like Bo Xilai and Song Zhengsai was on the decline. Again, usually they don't say that. They want to say, no, it's still not completely removed because they want more investigation. They want more power to chase them down. But that's not what they said. So we could go on to say that maybe that's the signal we were looking for, potentially not as a successor, but at least we can assume that Chen Min-er will become Cheng Wei in 2022. So that's something to look for, definitely.
Yeah. And two sessions are traditionally they're held in March, right?
Yeah.
Early March?
Yeah, usually it's around that, but it's used for, especially when it's after a Congress, usually they will take this time for a ministerial reshuffling. So that's why, like, when you see new ministers, they usually come the year after in March, because this is where the state council will reshuffle during the two sessions.
Yeah, but so far there hasn't been any. There's no indication that there's going to be a delay, right? And I don't know if we said before, but delay at this time would mean that COVID is not under control. But it seems like it's going to go as planned.
Well, from what we have seen and the new security measures that are usually implemented before a Congress or a meeting have been implemented. So delaying it now would look weird because, like, you're already delaying courier, you're already delaying mail and kuaidis and whatever goes through Hebei and Beijing. So backtracking on that, like 4 days? Yeah, I think it's open on, so 4 days before, that wouldn't look very good. It would look like something that suddenly changed their mind. Although, to be fair, the explosion that happened, I think it was in Xicheng district like a few days ago. I mean, this doesn't look good, man. It didn't look good.
What was that about? What the hell was that?
Well, apparently it was in a restaurant or in a home, depending on what you read, and it hasn't been reported a lot. So, as they say, when there's few words, big issues. That could be the case. You don't know, but it's very suspicious that there will be an explosion just like a week away from the opening of the
At
two
the same
sessions.
time, you and I both know like explosions could happen anytime based on how fucking buildings are set up, like gas
Oh,
pipelines. Bro, it's
for
a
anyone,
fucking mess.
bro, anyone who's ever had a hot pot in Beijing with either coal and gas in the same room, like like you actually like, man, you guys are really pushing it hard. You act like you want to die. But like, yeah, no, to be fair, it could be nothing. It could be, people tend to interpret it as like, oh yeah, man, it's conspiracy around the gates of Zhongnanhai. It's like, yeah, I mean, maybe,
Or
but maybe it's just some rando who just lighted a cigarette right next to a
fucking
gas.
propane.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised because like I've seen that before. So, maybe yeah, maybe no, but that's besides the point. So all the measures have been implemented. So I don't think it's going to be delayed, and we really need to look at the signs, like what's going to come out of the two sessions. We really hope to see more of the TUA, the CCDI, especially because we want to know what's going to happen to Zhao Leji in the upcoming months. We absolutely need to know that.
Oh,
Because
this is like the
as
fucking
things
end
stand,
game for him. This is like the end
oh
game.
yeah, we're close to the end game. We're just a few meetings away. But
He's
for
hanging
him,
on. He's hanging on by a thread, basically. Like
the amount of corruption stories that are knocking at his door are incredible at this point. Like, this guy is a massive liability to not only to himself, but to his family and to Xi Jinping right now. If you're Xi Jinping, you're still lingering on the romantic view of like, oh yeah, our dad knew each other, and then like revolutionary, and like, oh yeah, we were sent down to difficult regions. Yeah, sure, but at the same time, you got these massive stories about like coal in Shanxi, coal in Qinghai, the banking in Qinghai as well, and the coal mining rights, the villas that were apparently built under him in Shanxi in the early 2000s. Like this is, and especially because Xi Jinping, when he saw that, he was like, bro, are we going to dismantle all of that? So like, imagine the confusion of the people on the ground. Like you made it, like you asked us to build that, and like Xi Jinping is asking us to dismantle. So it's like, should we listen to the head of the CCDI, like the G-Way, or to Xi? Like, because like both of this could massively backfire. like you're really stuck between two rocks. Like, you don't listen to Zhao, he can literally shank you with an investigation team. You don't listen to Xi, he could probably do the same thing in a swifter way. So
he just make you
confusion
disappear.
all across the board.
Yeah. He's not looking good for him. I mean, to be fair, like ever since he was made head of CCDI, he doesn't really do much. Like he doesn't have any headlines. He's
No.
just fucking trying to stay chill. I think he's chilling. He's not gonna based on what we've seen. Why can't he just retire? Can't he retire just voluntarily?
Well, I mean,
not
this would
okay.
be, yeah.
Not that it's gonna save him, right? You know what I mean? It's not so, but better than being at the head of the anti-corruption body and then having all this shit lay at your feet, you know?
The problem is he's only 65. I mean, oh, sorry, he will only be 65. Come 20, or is he already 65 right now? I forgot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The fact is, whether he's 65 right now or 67 then, or like this age is still a bit too young, and would be like, you need to explain why he's stepping down. He could decide to step down. He could, but at the same time, will he?
But to be fair,
like,
okay, anything he does is going to look suspicious. He stays on, he's just waiting to get fucking shanked. He leaves, that's suspicious because, like, why are you leaving? He gets shifted based on where he gets shifted to. That again tells. So, like, basically, there's nothing the party can do without it raising a kind of red flag for us.
Because, like, for him, like the best case scenario would be to live on as a Changwei member for 5 more years and really play, or like really try to praise Xi Jinping as much as he can, or parrot everything he says. That would be maybe the best case scenario. And like you think like will he keep his position as CCDI? I don't think so, because it really doesn't look good. And you can see Wang Qishan is moving people around him, and even Li Jianshu is also putting people around in the Jiwei. This is not good. Like, you're literally having kind of like semi-babysitter looking at what you're doing and reporting either to Wang Qishan or to Li Jianshu, which is by default reporting to Xi Jinping. So, like, that in itself is not good, because it really seems like you're not able to do what you're supposed to be doing, and people are monitoring you at a close proximity. That's not good, especially not for someone like Zhao.
Is there anything that implicates him that would, by extension, implicate Xi Jinping?
Honestly, not that much.
My question is, like, what's the point of keeping him? Why not just toss him out to the wolves?
That's a very good question. But at the same time, like, with what happened to HNA, like, you get asked the same question, like, why wouldn't you just toss Wang Qishan to the wolves? Because that's a bit, you know, the degrees of separation are a bit big, right? The connection is obviously there, but HNA is not heading China's anti-corruption body, right? No, like, it is not. But
it's the difference of degree.
Sure, I get your point. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Because I think it comes down to, again, there's still like the remnants of this romantic idea that, you know, we're brothers from Shanxi to a certain degree. I think there's still that somehow playing to Xi Jinping, like, let's say, I guess, revolutionary authenticity or morals, something like that. And the second thing is, if you do that, you kind of accept the fact that he's been part of the extended allies of Jiang Zemin all along, and you made a major mistake and you let it linger for years. Face-wise, that's not an acceptable option. Like, face-wise, you like this like you would admit to a mistake, and a major mistake. So I think they're kind of stuck with that. And to be fair, before all of that broke out, like, I think the first time they started talking about the villas was early in Xi Jinping's term. So at the time, I think not all of the information was out as to who potentially was responsible for that. So you get given the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, maybe Xi Jinping didn't really know at the time that
really
Zhao Leji was. I mean,
really,
bro. Like, I mean, let's put it this way. Like, if you look at the career patterns of all of these people, even though people that are super close to Xi Jinping, a lot of them, especially people like Zhao Leji, extremely benefited from what we call the 90s China under Jiang Zemin. Like, he has been considered to be part of the Jiangpai for a long time. You know, even Wang Qishan was considered to be one of Zhu Rongji, and Zhu Rongji and Xi Jinping are not super close buddies.
That's fair.
So it really depends, like all of the circumstance of like their rise to power. And if you look at it this way, well, I mean, especially even people in Shanghai that are close to Xi Jinping today are like, oh yeah, like, he's the Mishu of Xi. Like, yeah, but bro, like, you remember, like, just 2 years ago, he was like a major ally of the Shanghai Bang. Like, oh yeah, just he turned his code and everything was chill after that. Like,
No, I think I just find it a bit unbelievable that he wouldn't have known that Zhao Leji oversaw the construction of this villas. You know, like, that seems a bit.
Well, okay,
like,
but then if he knew,
bro.
Okay, but then if he knew, why would you keep sending investigation teams there to focus on coal and mining rights and villas? Why would you keep twisting the knife in Zhao Leji's mistake? That wouldn't make any sense. You just let it slide.
Maybe there's an angle we're not seeing whereby he's somehow extracting leverage. Although again,
sure,
I don't know. Maybe
he extracted leverage from Wang Qishan. So I mean, at this point, it's all fair game. It's all fair.
So like
Could be.
it is weird that he keeps him on for such a senior position and then keeps kind of like digging into this. It just smells like there's some kind of play going on, although I can't exactly see the angle.
You're right. It could be. I mean, I don't see it unless he's not, because like to send in a central inspection team, you need to be part really of the DOA system. I don't even think the state council has this power anymore to just send investigation teams. So like you kind of have to want to do it to yourself at this point. So it's like you have to be willing to partake in your own abuse. And this is why it makes very little sense either to keep him or to investigate him. It's like pick one. At this point, just pick one. Either you go full throttle and you just purge him into oblivion, or you keep him and you just kill the story. Like, just I don't get it anymore.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
We'll figure it out at some point. At some point, we'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out at some point.
I think the next interesting topic we can talk about is the Huawei issue. That, this one's interesting because first of all, I didn't even fucking read about this shit. It's also very bizarre. Anyways, bro, you can bring it from the top.
Well, I mean, you need to understand what it means. You need to really go down deep down the rabbit hole of the 70s China to really understand what it means. Anyway, so for context, what happened was that, and again, this is not breaking ranks, or it's not like outside of normal procedures for the party. So Xi Jinping I think it was February 20th, celebrated the 100th anniversary of Huawei. Again, usually they celebrate 50, 100. So again, nothing weird there. But the thing is, praise, and because usually that's why Huawei is called the forgotten successor, because he kind of lives in a different era. His name has meaning to a certain degree. I mean, during the Great Leap Forward a little bit, but the significance of Huawei is really from the Cultural Revolution onwards to the Beijing Spring, so 1985-ish. So this is where he lives in history. And he's not a really, I don't want to say important, because he has some very good points, but at the same time, there's kind of a gap between like Mao, and then it's Huawei, and then it's Deng Xiaoping. Because it's kind of like the shameful after Mao that nobody wants to remember. Kind of, but to be fair, but like it's hard to really explain his real.
Okay, he's kind of like like when a king dies, the shitty son rules for a few years, not even a few years actually. Like he just gets deposed very rapidly. But technically, still a legitimate successor. And
but he was appointed by Mao.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's still legit, but not relevant in the grand scheme of things.
But let's make it clear, like even like he doesn't have the standing of Zhou Enlai or like Liu Shaoqi or like even Peng Dehuai. Like you don't have the standing of these people with Hua Guofeng. Hua Guofeng is more like, oh yeah, that dude who cracked down on the Gang of Four and kind of reestablished order. But like we forget that and we skip directly to, oh yeah, but like Deng Xiaoping did that. I mean, it's still you needed someone like Hua Guofeng to push for the transition, and then you had like Deng Xiaoping, Chen Yun, and even the reformers, the conservatives. They just gang up on Hua Guofeng to make him step down. That was kind of how it happened, to make it simple.
But he's kind of a nice guy. He's kind of a nice guy. He agreed to step down. I mean, like.
He had no choice, because even the army was like, bro,
he could have still caused havoc. Let's be real.
Yes, to be fair, if he was like, bro, we keep on the great ball sacking, like we go down this road, we just the two whatevers, like whatever happened, we just double down. He could have, there could have been a few more years of massive chaos.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Because technically he was appointed by Mao, so technically he has legitimate sovereignty.
Mad revolutionary power,
So,
mad.
And don't forget, we finished the Cultural Revolution. Doesn't mean it's done technically. I mean, so he could have still caused damage, but he, like I said,
but it wasn't over.
Nice. He was nice.
Like for the people who think the Cultural Revolution ended in 76, bro, you're out of your mind. if you think the revolutionary committees and all the people wreaking havoc, the rebels, the counter rebels, were removed or suddenly disappeared in 76, bro, like whoever said that is just dumb. Like this is so not how it went down. Anyway, so. But usually, again, like because of all of that, people usually don't really remember Huang Guofeng. So the fact that Xi Jinping would organize and be there at the Great Hall of the People to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Huang Guofeng has significant meaning for him as a party leader, but also in the grander scheme of, let's say, intra-party tensions. And this goes to... Anyway, we'll come back to that after the explanation of what it would mean to bring Huang Guofeng, and then we'll go back to maybe a more revisionist tone on history. But anyway, Huang Guofeng was maybe one of the only dude who wanted to really uphold the Maoist legacy after 1976, but nobody was playing along that because the party was so not having that after what happened. Like we're so not going down that road again. So, but for Xi Jinping, Huang Guofeng represents much more than that. It represents Mao's political legacy. And if you look at what he did since 2013, like really steering left and like more idioms on like the party building, party spirit, and all of that, you can understand why he's trying to do that. Because we're living now in what's called like the post-Deng world. People never refer to that as post-Jiang or post-Hu, like unless you're really talking about like officials. Like that's fair, but in terms of era, you're looking at post-Deng. This is where you are, and for him, looking at all the problems, I mean, they all stem from the reforms, right? So for him, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the roots of the party and side with the official legacy of the party to try to restore the party's grandeur and restore it to its natural greatness. Whatever that may mean, keep that in mind. Whatever that means, that's still like unclear. Anyway, so this political legacy is also a way to, let's say, dominate the other groups, because most of the other groups are inspired by Deng or they come after Deng, so they play along Deng's rule. And by siding with Mao, you kind of allow yourself to not being, let's say, you don't have to abide by these rules because they don't make sense in terms of who's having the strongest revolutionary legitimacy. And if you want to fight Deng, you need Mao. And if you side with Mao, nobody can go above you. And this is the idea there. You're trying to escape the Dengist rule, the Dengist world, kind of. And you reframe yourself as this ultimate, authentic, revolutionary power. So your understanding of the party is correct. And whatever you say goes. So if you try to oppose Mao, as we know from 1949, 1976, if you try to oppose Mao, you'll be purged or you'll be labeled as counter-revolutionary or a revisionist. So this comes with an extremely heavy symbolic charge inside the party. Like what it means for you to side with Huang Guofeng, to side with the legacy of Mao Zedong inside the post-Deng world, kind of. But this could massively backfire because, if you side with that and Cultural Revolution are what they are, I mean, at some point there will be some rebels trying to say that you're not radical enough and you will steer left, like right down the mountain. Like boom, right off the road, and you'll go down hard. So is it really what he's trying to accomplish? Probably not. Is he trying to send a message that, okay, like, I reinvented myself as the real party ruler, and therefore the Dengis rules do not apply? Which would make sense if you considered that he changed the constitution with removing term limits. Because the term limits are what? They're Dengis rules. So you remove that, or you frame yourself as Mao or Huang Guofeng, then these rules do not really apply, because they come after you and you can consider them to be reactionary. So you don't need to play by these rules. You're literally changing the whole game, which is something that communist leaders are sometimes known for. Like, if you can't win, just change the whole game, or just redraft all the rules just to just favor you.
That's not communist, bro. That's China.
Yeah, sure, I guess. Probably, but like I said, this could really, let's say, help him to, like, maybe force the other factions to fall in ranks. Because, like, listen, I'm siding with Mao, and you can't go above that. So if you criticize me in terms of master party builder or party chairman, I mean, like, you realize that you're really just saying that you are anti-party. This is the message that this would send. Like, if you're against me, you're anti-party. And this is good for C, because he could go above the T-way and not have to use that anymore, because, like, anti-party can mean literally anything. And if you side with Mao, you don't need to explain your understanding of the party rules, party building, party spirit. You don't need to explain none of that, because this is what you are. You represent it. You are the master interpreter. So this could be very bad for other forces inside the party. But again, at the same time, the problem is the downside is immense, because rebel groups, more radical groups, or you're not radical enough, or the Maoists are coming back, and then you realize, like, okay, maybe we like the reforms. Damn. And that's why this could go down hard, so bad, at any given moment. So I really hope it's just a tactic to push people in rank, and not something he really wants to use for, let's say, re-steer or govern China. Because then, if it is, then this is not going to be good for the next 5 or 6 or 10 years, or up until he decides to leave, or something like the Mao story with Lin Biao, for example. Like, we don't know where that may end, or how many lives can be lost.
I don't think he's trying to, re-steer or redraft the rules, but I think I agree that he's using it as a tactic. But as we know, people tend to get carried away with this shit.
Yeah, and again, like, you play on party orthodoxy, or like who's the most authentic party understanding, like, leader, or, like, I mean, who has the most, like, authentic legacy? Okay, sure, but you need to remember, like, the more you do that, the more you split the party from you, because the party's gonna they're not gonna play that. They're gonna act as if, but no one's buying that anymore. And doing that also separates the party from the population even more. Because, like, people have pragmatic concern. They want jobs, they want money, they want retirement, they want social goods. They don't want to go back to that. I mean, in a general statement, because we know if you go down in deep rural areas, a few of them will probably be, oh yeah, we want to go back to the revolutionary era because we had purpose. Like, yeah, that's fair, I guess. But I mean, in a more generalized way, contemporary China today would probably not accept to go down the road of another Great Leap Forward, or the Great Chip Forward.
Oh no!
or bro, the language of the chip forward is so similar to the one, the Great Leap Forward, catching up to the West, 15 years implementation, and the chips. It's like really, you're really recycling the 50s right now, really. And the saddest part about all of this is, it's also at the same time when we talk about food shortages. I'm like, oh man, it's like you're recreating this shit. Why would you focus on grains? Import grains. Don't let people die. Focus.
Bro, that okay, just the side thing. I remember when when I was studying at Ottawa and the fucking stupid was like youth communist student organization there. Oh man, they put out this poster that was and you'll really appreciate the irony of this, right? The poster was the 100 Flowers campaign, and
Oh,
they
I
had
love
a
that.
slogan like, was like 100 ideas, 100 flowers bloom or something. And I was like, you guys clearly haven't read history and don't know what happened after this. You're like the subsequent purge of intellectuals that happened after that was I think the irony is lost on the organizers of this event. Anyways,
You always need to be wary of party slogans that are a little bit too pro people. like 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 100 flower blooms, 100 schools compete. Like I'm having none of that, bro. I'm shutting it down.
bro, it's such an obvious trap. Like, come on.
At the time, I think,
bro, if you were an intellectual at that time and you believe that shit, you deserve to be fucking purged. Like, you must be so dumb to believe that shit. Like, just read your own history. The last time there's 100 shit, this 100 slogan thing came out was during when? The fucking Qing dynasty, when they fucking murdered a bunch of fucking intellectuals.
Well, again, to be fair, remember, this was the the 100 Flower campaign in the early days. And then after Mao, you had the Beijing Spring when people were invited to share, and then you had like all these new magazines, books, and pamphlets. All of that were like flowering across Beijing, and then you had the wall with the great like
the Lenin Wall.
Yeah, and then at some point the dude's like, "Bro, we need the fifth modernization, bro," and then you just derail the whole thing. And then there was a crackdown on that. It's like, man, like, when will you guys ever learn? They don't really want to know what you think. Or like learn where, like you're ahead. Like, and this is, to be fair, in this case, knowing that, I blame both sides because, like, I mean, listen to this, because you're at the casino, you know the house always wins, like, you know that, and like you have a few chips on the table, you have a small win. But you don't go to cash it. You just push it, and then you just get slammed. It's like, man, they were listening to you up until you said that. Like, you probably had a good game going. You probably could have got a little bit more out of the reformers at the time. But no, you couldn't take the win. You couldn't. You had to go for democracy. You had to go down that road. And God forbid the party would react poorly to that.
The rules,
like you had to know it wouldn't end well.
Well, the house rules are so simple, which blows my mind why people still break them and then are surprised when the rules are broken and they get punished. Don't talk shit about the party. Don't push for democratic shit. And you're basically good.
And like we said, you can probably have a crack house and nobody would know. Nobody would know. You could do that and nobody would care.
The rules are so simple.
And yet, speaking of that, I think there was another recent example of that. I think I forgot, but there was another one.
I don't understand. This is going to be a hot take. You ready for this?
Yo, man, swing it.
I don't understand why there are even human rights lawyers in China, because you can't even really defend your case.
No, you can't. You're gonna get jailed, you're gonna detained, or you're gonna disappear. Or best case scenario, you're allowed in court, but you get steamrolled.
Like, why would you play such a stupid card in such a fucking disadvantaged playing field? I don't get it. It
The
makes
Western,
no sense.
bro, the white people would tell you something like, they have to defend rights. It's good. Like it's all a discussion on values and norms at this point.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what about just surviving? What about that? Like what about that?
yeah, like, do they understand that like no Western government is gonna risk anything to save these people? Like they understand that, right?
I
Like,
don't think they do. I don't think they
like
get
what,
that.
they
I
they think
think,
what the U.S. is gonna roll the fucking seals in and extract you out of prison? They ain't gonna do that shit. Ain't
well, I
nobody.
mean, what do you think people were thinking about Hong Kong? Like, oh man, the U.S. is gonna like interfere, or they're gonna interject, and then they're gonna rescue Hong Kong. It's like,
Oh no,
yeah,
give a fuck.
of course.
No, give a fuck. We
Like
got bigger
everybody
problems.
was talking mad shit about that. Like you remember, like, oh man, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and gonna be sanctions there and there. Like, where is all that? Like,
Oh no,
none
no,
of
no, no,
that.
no, no. They sanctioned and it's just hurting Hong Kong.
Yeah, but will it matter in the end in terms of the final objective, which was to save people in Hong Kong? Will that work?
Bro, I think you know what's sad is I think Hong Kongers don't realize that the US gives more of a fuck about Taiwan than they do Hong Kong.
Of course they do. It's a much more, like, it's much more strategic. If you would ask them like to weigh in the gains, like why would we go and defend that? It's so close. There's no real maritime routes right next to it. Although to be fair, it could be nice, like just like in Cuba, it could be nice to have like a base in Hong Kong just to fuck just to fuck with them. Like that could be cool. But in terms of effort, it's way too complicated, and that's why people were like they didn't appreciate the comment. But like I tell them, like maybe the time has passed. Like you put efforts in this, but the game is already lost. Like this is over. If you
Oh,
want
it's
to win another
long.
game, focus your energy somewhere else. If you want to get concessions, like this is over. People will leave, people will stay. Rules are changing at a rapid pace. This is game over. It's sad for some, but I mean, you couldn't not see it. Like it was coming. It was just a matter of time.
Bro, like it's just
Well,
it is and the funniest part is when they asked like Britain for help, like what the fuck what the fuck is Britain gonna do?
well,
Bro,
the passport thing. I mean, that's cool. That's
I mean,
cool.
yeah, you want to immigrate to Britain, fucking post Brexit Britain? Like, yeah, go for it, bro. While they're still getting fucking ass raped by fucking coronavirus, like, bro, this is
Well, I think they said that they received less application than they thought they would.
bro, because it's too complicated for them to move, man. It's dude, where you gotta move assets, you gotta sell your house and shit. Like, bro, it's in the
And
end, it's too
you leave
complicated.
you leave yourself so much open to mad local fuckery in terms of assets and stuff. Like they can delay your stuff, they can shank you, they can freeze your assets, they can ask for proof. Like where does these assets come from? They can do everything just to complicate your life just a little bit longer. Like they can do all of that.
Yeah, it's Hong Kong. This is a loss. This is a lost game, bro. This game's been lost. I don't know what they were fucking fighting for.
They're still fighting for it now.
Bro, fortunately, that stupid ass kid Joshua Wong has been jailed, so you're not hearing any dumbass shit from him anymore. So, thank God, dude. He's so fucking annoying, man. Newspaper, you turn him on, he's talking some shit. Like, bro, shut up, man. Like,
Bro, he's been jailed for his belief. You can respect it.
bro, I don't fucking respect him. Look at his face, bro.
Bro, come on.
Bro, bro, you know he's got a Netflix documentary.
What?
Yeah, he's got a Netflix documentary
Ew.
about how the CCP just lays into him, bro.
Well, I mean, you can do that for so many people. He's not a precious snowflake. They don't have anything tailor made for him.
Bro, what a great fight. Lost everything in the end for zero gains. Actually,
And just like we said, all of that should have been solved way back in 1997 when people suggested it. A few of them suggested it. Like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should have that law right now.
yeah, but
Nope.
like I told you, they got shanked by their own chief executive, Dong Jianhua.
Yeah,
Tong Xinhua. Yeah, he said no.
bro, it was an imperial appointment. You forgot?
Oh, bro. Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, bro.
Oh
Uh,
man, this was just weird at this point. But hey, you know,
anyways, we're gonna wrap up soon, but any
well, you haven't talked about your side of things.
yeah, there's not that much interesting, man. Like it's fucking yesterday. No, on Sunday they reported PMI numbers, which were fucking lower, obviously, because it was Chinese New Year's. I don't know why that was a surprise. I don't know why analysts were expecting it to like not drop substantially, which is kind of stupid. Um, Job market still pretty shit. We talked about this in our monthly thing, but
Yeah,
basically, so the job market has been pretty much in contraction for I'd say most of 2020, and definitely for January and February this year. And what was it? I can't remember what ministry was reported. It's like Ministry of Human Resources or some shit. But they were like, oh yeah, like throughout 2020, urban jobless rate was at 5.6%. I was like, bro, get the fuck out of here. How can you just blatantly lie like that? We know it was not 5.6%, which leads me to believe they're pulling what the fucking Federal Reserve does is they're fucking with the numbers. They're fucking with the number. They're for sure fucking with the numbers. They're probably not counting people who are looking for jobs as part of the unemployed, which is, I think Canada also does that too, not just the US.
probably.
Yeah. They're probably, I think they're definitely also counting like fucking online gamers, vloggers, and people who have like a social media kind of job, as well
But
as
they're
like,
making it hard for them, bro. They're making it hard for them to have jobs.
well, I mean, what do you want? Do you want better numbers? Or do you want to
Hey,
crack down on this shit?
don't forget, there's at least 130 million companies. Are we clear
Oh my
about that
god.
or not?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we clear?
Explain that. Explain that.
Yeah, because for those of you who are unaware, and I think you can expand on that, bankruptcy laws are not very clear, or not very clear in China. Basically, you cannot really go bankrupt, and ceasing operation is also kind of problematic because once you register with the state, you become a normal company. So ceasing operation and bankruptcy are like, oof, it's complicated.
They're
So
trying. They're trying. They're trying to make it
they're
better.
trying, yeah, they made efforts recently to, let's say, propose a proposal that should lay down the foundation for a clearer understanding of how companies can exit the market and go bankrupt. I was like, ooh, man, this is one toe in the right direction. Oof. So, but basically, what Li Keqiang said to a meeting in early February to like European Union representative, I was like, oh yeah, but you don't remember, like we have like more than 130 million. I think it was small and medium and companies. But like when he said that, like I think he knows he's lying outright because like this doesn't take into account bankruptcies. This doesn't take into account all the companies that have ceased operations over the last few months / years. And the funny thing is, if you look at it this way, it's like there's one company for every 10 people. Oh, that's so good. And he was trying to flex it as like, oh yeah, there's strong opportunities for exchange and trade. I was like, bitch, like
You could
really?
he could
This
have
is
made
what
that
you're going to go with?
he could have made that he could have made that point better. Like there's definitely opportunities for trade and stuff, but I don't
But
know where
not
there's
like this.
yeah, no, the 130 million is fucking stupid. Like
Well,
first of all,
technically they're registered and they are normal companies. Let that sink in.
what does that take into account shit like limited partnerships? Because
It takes into account all the registrations,
so all
all
the
of them,
incorporated shit.
everything.
Okay, you
But
know what? Okay, maybe that's believable, but then you got to discount shit like sole proprietorships, fucking limited partnerships, like
No,
there's
I think the point that we're trying to make in the meeting they had, like I think a few days after, no, a few days before that meeting, because they had a state council meeting, and I think what they want to do is like really put in new rules for exiting the market, bankruptcy, so they can re-update the entire list as to know exactly how many entities are operating inside the market. Because right now, I think this what he was trying to say in that meeting is like, we have no clue how many companies are actually doing something that are still operating, and that is a high. This is a big problem.
Yeah, no shit. But bro, they're never gonna know, bro. The ability of the Chinese state to understand, like, not understand, to make visible relevant statistics, bro, it's as good as it's gonna get. They're not gonna, like, oh man, if you just check the record keeping of like local business administrators, man, it is so varied. Like, and as with all things in China, the more inland you move, the shittier it becomes. Like, just missing
Oh yeah.
information, missing dates, inaccessible websites, bro. It's is wild.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. But anyway, so aside, let's say all of that, we're moving towards the two sessions, and Xi Jinping will have to, let's say, try to consolidate or to make his case for 2022. So if he's going down the road of the, let's say, revolutionary or party legitimacy through Hua Guofeng, that's a hard sell. Although, if you really wish not to negotiate, you could. You could. It's not very good, but you could. Or you really want him to make his case through accomplishments like uh, poverty alleviation. So his best bet would probably try to make his case through real policy accomplishments rather than like flexing Hua Guofeng. Not their best options. What we expect to see is a broader discourse on renewed party building um, activities ahead of the centennial. Um, and I would also assume that there will be more discussion on Sino-U.S. relations inside the party, either before or during the two sessions, because we know what the party wants, we know what Xi Jinping wants, but we're still unclear on how Biden will play the cards, because he's been sending mixed signals. Like he did some concession for Xinjiang, Confucius Institute. I think he backtracked on one or two uh, projects that were put down by Trump. So he's giving some signals, but at the same time, he's still talking about alliances containing to a certain degree. So we're not quite sure where things will go. And I think Xi Jinping will definitely want to know before July, before the centennial, because they need more wins before we reach July.
Oh yeah, but the today, well, I guess it's March, but whatever. Today, the U.S. Trade Representative Office came out and said they're not backing down on anything with regards to China. Like, they're just going to keep slamming them. So
You see, it's very ambiguous, and the party doesn't like it. They like when they are being very ambiguous and ambivalent. They like to do that, but they don't like when others are acting this way. I'm sure someone will come out today or tomorrow crying foul, hardcore about the U.S. decisiveness to create like chaos in Sino-U.S. relations.
oh no, they already did that. Guo Shuqing came out.
You see, I didn't
You already
need to know.
okay. I don't know which one came out first. I don't know if the trade office
Oh,
said
this
this
is
first
good.
or
Oh,
if
this
Guo
is good.
Shuqing said this. But Guo Shuqing said, well, fuck, what did he say? He was like, oh yeah, some shit like U.S. sanctions will are not good and shouldn't be allowed. Some shit like that. Some vague, pointless
Yeah,
talking.
so he cried foul. Anyway,
Yeah,
it was expected.
it's rare though. It's rare to see him crying, like his office crying foul.
But I think the other one, their foul meter is much higher, and they need to cool down. They need to cool down, especially after the Australia incident. Like, he needs to tone his shit down. He needs
Bro,
to tone it
oh
down.
man, yo,
And let's say,
they're fucking Australia hard right now. Yo, Australia's getting slammed. I never
are they
thought
still
I'd
being
see
slammed hard on coal?
no, on wine,
Oh, yeah, but I think that was part of the deal to begin with.
bro. I've never seen China corner someone so hard like this. I almost can't believe it.
Well, to be fair, you partake in your own abuse if you have like that close of a relationship.
That yes, but also like
And but okay, I can backtrack and say like, okay, if you want to play that game, then shut up.
I agree with you. I 100% agree.
Like, if you want to go down that road, then shush. That's it. You can't do both. It's not gonna work. You can't
Man,
protest and get all the freebies and the trade deals. That's not gonna work.
I also didn't realize how fucking exposed the Australian economy is to China. Like,
I used to have like Australian wine all the time because it was cheap as hell.
like you'd think their government would have, thought about this, but as Canadians, we're like, oh shit, we're massively exposed to the U.S. It's not really a problem, except when Trump was in office, they slammed tariffs on us for no.
Oh yeah, that was good. Like, boom, aluminium, boom, wood, boom, out of nowhere.
For no reason. We're like, what the fuck was that?
But to be fair, like, yeah, they have no reason to do that because they actually are highly dependent on resources being shipped fast. So it's not a matter of cost, but a matter of speed most of the time for us. So we're good for that. That's our thing. It's speed, because cost wise, they could get cheaper shit elsewhere.
Yeah, but what I mean is, it's not really a problem for us to be heavily exposed to the U.S. because they're not going to go rogue. And when they do, it's temporary.
Yeah, exactly. It's temporary rogueness.
It's about a week long. They re-roll that shit.
Yeah, but for Australia, like, had to know, and this is aside from the real estate, and I think even the power grid, like
ports.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
Maybe
yeah, exactly. So like you overexpose yourself way too much from the get-go, and now you're crying foul on that, and then they respond to you in kind, and you're then crying foul again. It's like, man, like, pick, like, choose what is it that you want? Like,
bro, come on, man, it's Australia.
It's hard. And to conclude all of that, I have a candy for you. Oh yeah, this is good. You're gonna love it. I can't go into total detail, but this, you'll like it. So I recently accepted to review a paper.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh yes, I couldn't pass that down. Okay. What could I read that wouldn't be too bad? Okay, I'll go with the last sentence there. That's good. That's okay. Well, this is the abstract, and when I saw it, bro, when I read that, I was like, I have to review this garbage. I have to do that. I have to.
Go.
So he's saying that he provides an alternative understanding of Confucianism as a countervailing power against neoliberalism, which is fair. I mean, well, hold on. That's fair. But furthermore, I also argue that Chinese state power, undergirded by Confucianism and understood that hierarchical, is just. And hold on. You might be thinking, oh, but this is just like a theoretical essay, right?
Yeah, this sounds mad theory.
But the first sentence of the paragraph is COVID-19 has triggered various responses. So what I gave you, I cannot give you all of it, but like the main argument he's trying to say is that China was able to manage COVID-19 in a very good way.
Okay.
Not because it's authoritarian, but because of Confucianism.
Oh my God, here we go again.
Here we
go again with this shit.
Bro, but this is the argument he's trying to make. I was like, bro, this guy is out of his mind.
Bro, didn't fucking scholars try this shit before? Like, this argument sounds like not COVID-19 specifically, but statecraft Confucianism. I feel like this sounds familiar.
He's trying really hard to bring in the COVID element to like justify the paper. You're asking me, man. I don't know why.
Bro, I hope you fucking trash this person, bro. This person should not be in academia. Get this.
And again, the worst part about all of this is the paper is like 10 pages long, like each Friday.
So what's the word count? What's the word count on this bitch?
It's definitely not high. And if I look about, like, let's say the references, oh man, they're not even done. They're not even right. Like, oh my, there's Adam Smith cited in there.
Oh, good lord,
Xunzi is cited in there.
Oh,
Yao Xingzhong, like from the 2000. Oh my god, what the hell? Oh, and of course you have some Daniel Bell, which is yeah, sure. Oh, Francis Fukuyama is in there
Oh
too.
my Jesus Christ! What the fuck is he? Is the PhD?
No, this guy. No, but when I read this, I feel like the guy doesn't know the literature. So that's gonna be my main point of attack. Like I don't need to read the paper. I just need to read the bibliography, and I know that he's way in above his head. Like, I
Bro,
know. I can
yo,
tell just by that.
does he?
Oh,
Does the paper sound like he can actually read Chinese or no?
oh, there's no reference to anything Chinese in there.
Okay, well, there's your
Let
answer.
me see what's the conclusion. Okay, so drawing on Bell and Wang's theory of just hierarchy,
Oh
the
my
Confucian.
god.
Oh, listen to the Confucian third dimension power does not necessarily seek to dominate because power within a Confucian hierarchy is not individualistic, rather operates at the social level.
Okay, yeah, this is.
The distinction is what makes Confucianism a countervailing power against neoliberalism. And this is key, allowing China to effectively respond to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh
Oh,
Jesus.
oof. Oh, it hurts. Oh,
Oh,
it
this is
hurts.
bad. This is bad. This is
Like,
bad.
like I could accept all of this if you're just saying that you're working on the classics and it's a classical comparison east-west democracy meritocracy authoritarianism and go back to the communitarian argument. Like I could play along these lines. Like that's fine. I'm good. Like people are dumb and they need to republish the same shit all over again because nobody reads anything. That's fair. I get it. But he goes one step further. He just has to go one step further.
Bad. This is so bad.
Like,
Can you tell me if this is a master's student or a PhD person?
I really hope it's a master's student. I really hope so.
This would be acceptable at an undergraduate level.
Yes, yeah. If you're doing, although I would still shit on you because like
It's pretty
like
bad.
remove
This is
like
like
remove but remove the COVID connection and then we'll talk. Like remove that nonsense because you're trying to frame this theoretical conversation as a pat way to explain COVID management, which is absolute garbage. Like
yeah.
I don't understand why. Like the editor didn't read it. Obviously, I just think he saw COVID, China Confucianism. And he was like, "Oh yeah, let's ride the wave." I think that's what happened. Let's ride the wave. But that's
bro.
just.
This is not.
But
the wave.
I had to see this. I had it, and now that I will read it, and then I will trash it because it's absolute garbage. The idea itself doesn't nobody should read it. Like nobody should read that paper. I'm sorry. And then people are like, oh yeah, but what about you and your paper? Man, I've played the game. Nobody read my shit. So fair game. That's it. Well, I mean, that's the game. Bro, you want to get in the game? Put on goggles and be ready to be used as a human toilet. That's the game. You want to be in that game? Go ahead, my friend. That's it.
Yeah, fuck this paper. That's a great way to end this.
Oh yeah. Bro, totally.
Because
totally.
Nobody else should have to suffer because of this.
Oh man, I'm gonna stop him in his track right there. I'm taking a stand.
Put him out of his misery.
300, bro. 300.
Put him out of his misery. Put him out of his misery.
Oh man, you better believe I will.
All right. That's it. That's it for this episode. Goodbye.
Yeah. Ciao.